he continued and he was trying to get us up for the game. And he was going, well, who's going to go out in the second half and show me that they've got a pair of balls? Who's going to do that? Who's going to grab this great game by the scruff of the neck? Who's got a pair of balls? And he looked at me and went, we all know you aren't, Anton, because you ain't got a pair of balls, have you? Our success, and it's the most successful team that Sunderland have had in the Premier League, it was based on friendships. If I would have had him for my tenure at Sunderland, I'd play for England. And he went to me, how much do you want to leave this football club? How much do you want? What do you want, 500 grand? He went, if it's 500 grand, I'll sign that cheque myself and give it to you. Yeah, that's what he said. And I went, Gaffer, we all know I'm on a bit more than that. So if you, I said, so if you, I was cheeky. I said, if you up it, I might actually think about it. That's how, and I've always had that mentality because of Rio, because I was always compared to him. So I always had that mentality. Well, I've got to show you that I'm here, not because of my brother, but I'm here because of me.
Boom, when you see me in the city, rollies, APs and rich millies. I'm with Kieran, that's killy. Got the protect on the rest of you silly. You know, so the G's them trendy. But we don't care if it's trending. You wanna buy one, then ask Henry. But we stunt on them, so don't tempt me. Like Kieran and Manu, all of the haters got left back. He went from kicking ball to man selling watches. Man, go and check that. So many legends, we're talking Premier League. Man, respect that. The broad walk, it was all talks. That was broad talks, you better get that. So many legends, we're talking Premier League, man, respect that. They thought it was all talk, now it's broad talks, you better get that.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Broad Talks. It's me, Henry, here with Kieran, and another special guest, Anton Ferdinand. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you. How are you, man?
Yeah, good.
Big dog's in the place, boy.
Nah, bruv, I said it when I walked in, bro. There's only one big dog in the show.
Nah, bro, honestly, it's been, well, I've asked you for a while now to come on the show. I'm excited about how it's going to go. We've got so much history, me and Anton.
Yeah.
So much.
That's what I want to get into, first of all.
Yeah.
Everyone would think that you two know each other from playing at West Ham together at a young age. Mm-hmm. How do you actually know each other? Because you told me that's not the case.
No. So me and Anton been friends. Oh. Very first, we used to play against each other under 9s, under 10s. I was Sammy Montague. He was Athenley.
Yeah, Athenley.
Both South London. Yeah?
Both South London. We used to smack them up. Obviously, I know him from that, and then obviously went to West Ham with each other from a young age.
What positions were you both playing back then? Because obviously not everyone ends up in the position which they.
I was up front. I'm sorry, I was a striker at them times.
Yeah, you played all behind off the striker. You played on the 10. I was in between centre midfield and playing centre back.
More like a CDM.
Sometimes when we play against them, I tend to play CDM. They used to put me against you.
Put them in the pocket.
Yeah, no, you know what? As he said, though, their team, Simon Montague, were probably the best team around South at that time. And then, you know what? Because we were so competitive when we played against each other, there was always that respect that we both knew we were good. Mm-hmm. You know, and people would speak about me because of my family name. Speak about Kieran because he was the best for me in the whole of South London. Our age group, he was the best, hands down.
Safe, fam, safe.
I had the country at that time.
And then Charles, Cherno, Goma all come about.
Yeah.
And there was a group, I think, maybe 5-6 of us that people spoke about. Mm-hmm. Then we started playing together for London.
Yeah.
And Blackheath, we started playing together.
What is in the
like
district
team?
Yeah. Right, cool.
Yeah.
So how does it move on from there? Is that sort of the normal move from like playing from South London football to districts to then to academy? Do a lot of South London boys go to West Ham as their academy?
No, not necessarily.
No. How did both of you get picked up? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
But sorry, before we get there though, I think it's important. Then it wasn't just football that we started hanging about. We started hanging about around Queen's Road. Yeah. I used to go to the Venture Playground on Queen's Road together when I used to go to Max's, my cousin Max's, and spend a lot of time around there. I remember we used to play football in the back where Max's house was. Mm-hmm. And you used to go and goal. So I remember we used to laugh because you used to when you used to play and goal, you used to dive on your belly and save like that. Rather than like that, you used to save like that.
The theatrics.
Yeah. Great time. Obviously, Venture Playground, New Cross, we used to go all the time.
I've heard
in the summer.
People in the comments have been in there. I remember Kieran from back in the day. Venture
we used to go there. Bro, that was a great childhood, man. Just go in the summer. Obviously, you meet so many people, play in the Adventure Playground. I'm sure I'm still there now.
Yeah, it is.
But back then it was popping. Everyone used to go there.
Yeah.
We used to play football in the cage in there, play against other Adventure Playgrounds, which was great as well. But yeah, so we're going back when we was young, so we know each other for a long, long time.
What age is this? What?
10, 11s, 12s.
Yeah.
I went to West Ham. He obviously was at West Ham as well.
The Beckenham Centre, innit? It was the
Beckenham. We used to go Beckenham.
We used to go Beckenham. So there was a Centre of Excellence in Beckenham, which was the Centre of Excellence for the South for West Ham. That was where all the best players in the South that were selected to go to West Ham went there.
Paul Elliott. Is it Paul Elliott? Not Paul Elliott. Paul Senior.
Paul Senior.
Paul Senior was like, yeah.
Paul Senior, did he scout you?
Yeah, he scouted
me.
me.
It was Dave Goodwin that scouted me.
Paul Senior scouted me.
But we went there, and I think there was me, you, Peter Sweeney, Ben Watson.
Yeah, well, Bradley was there, right? Bradley Wright.
Yeah, Bradley.
Bradley was there.
We was all in that Centre of Excellence. But me and you got fast tracked, innit?
Yeah.
The two that got fast tracked to Chadwell Heath, which is where the academy, the proper academy is, was me and Kieran. We played 2 years up, 3 years up. We played.
Glenn Johnson came as well.
Glenn Johnson came. Yeah, I forgot Glenn Johnson.
Came.
Glenn Johnson's a London boy then.
Yeah, well, he's in Kent,
Dartford.
Right. Glenn Johnson's Dartford.
Yeah, his team used to get banged.
YMCA. Was it YMCA?
YMCA
to get slapped.
Is he one of those boys? That
He was a striker at the time. He was always striker.
He was just a star player in a crap team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know those ones. I know those ones.
But you see, like, even in these Premier League years, the finishes that he would come up with, he wasn't a fullback in terms of the ways to finish. And he had that from when he was young. Like the ball on the bounce, volley, bang, from anywhere.
I honestly think a lot of players these days, like fullbacks especially, like Kieran would thrive in today's game. Being an attacking like left winger / left wing back, that would be the best place to be it. Whereas like fullbacks back then, and what people say are just failed centre backs. That's what people used to say back in the day.
Yeah, that's how I started my career, my first team career anyway. Getting into the first team was always you went fullback.
Yeah.
Whereas to be fair, I think I could still play fullback now.
I think the reason why they put you fullback because obviously being centre back is such a massive ask on a young player. Pressure. It's a massive being the core of a team in the centre and obviously midfield and striker and the goalkeeper. These are the main. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of people have that move. Like Joe Gomez started at right back for Liverpool, now plays centre back, but now can go back and play right back as well. But let's go back to it. So you both obviously in the academy go to West Ham. What's it like at West Ham together? Also as like mates that have grown up together?
Bare jokes, bro.
It was too much jokes. We just enjoyed us, innit?
Yeah.
We just enjoyed ourselves, and you know what? Like he said, it was just bare joke. It was just like being at the adventure playground all the time.
Well, this is what the vibe I've always got of Kieran, that he never like obviously made it professionally, but never really took it too serious. Was always sort of joking around.
No, he did.
You're not joking around, bro. I mean,
he took it serious.
Well, mate, you turned up to your Man United trial in an Arsenal top.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, not you never took it like you took yourself too seriously. He took his career seriously, but never took himself too seriously.
Do you know what it was? Kieran, he knew how good he was. He knew how good he was, and he knew, okay, people are going to talk about my top, but I'm just going to show them I'm the best anyway. That was his attitude.
Let his football do the talking.
Yeah, that's the way he was. He was confident in his ability. And to be fair, a lot of kids feared that when we played, we're playing against Kieran, oh no. Like seriously, because he had that air of confidence, that aura of confidence to look at you and go, do you know what, I'm going to have you up today.
I think it's important for young kids playing now. It's confidence is everything. You know, even in the Prem, even the toppest level, confidence is the main thing. Yeah. Once you've got your confidence, anything can happen. And once you lose your confidence, you can see a great player, honestly, just fucking look shit, basically. Because if confidence is gone.
If you're there in the Prem, you've got the talent. You've got the talent to perform. It is just about the confidence.
I'd say 60% confidence.
Yeah, definitely. Mental.
And mental and confidence come together. I'd say that's 60% of you.
Yeah. We're going to get into the mental side of it in a bit, but let's sort of more focus on going from West Ham to then what happened there, how far you made it there.
Do you know what?
I would say your best times atEst Ham, right? About your whole career, you're West Ham.
Yeah.
You are West Ham.
Was that your favourite club that you played at?
100%. It was my favourite club I played for.
Is it the club you support today? Or?
Yes, the club I support today. I'm lucky. I'm someone who's gone from not being 9 years old supporting the club, watching the club up and down the country through Rio, because we wouldn't have been able to afford it. So watching the club up and down the country through Rio, getting to the first team, and then becoming a supporter and being a supporter of the football club to then going onto the pitch. You know, that's something that's unexplainable. You know, it's a feeling that you can't even fathom it. You know, to be a supporter of a football club, understand and know what it is that they want you to do as fans, and trying to deliver that on the pitch. People are under pressure because the fans know that you know. So there's a lot of pressure on you as a player and as a person to not just show your quality, but to show that you care in the right way.
I think that's something that today a lot of people find, that they see these people playing for their clubs and they're like, this guy just doesn't care anymore.
That's a big thing, and one thing for any football club, but for West Ham definitely, you work hard first and you play second. That was the same at Sunderland, was the exact same. You work hard first and you play second. Other clubs, there's always that hint of, he's not working hard enough. And the top clubs, you have to work hard first. You look at the top players, they work hard first, they play second.
Yeah, well, that's the two best teams in the country right now, right?
Exactly.
Liverpool, Man City work their socks off. Whereas you look at the likes of Arsenal, Man U, and they get given that.
Yeah, Man U not working hard.
That's the biggest thing. When you look at, and I was always told as a kid, body language. And we was always told as a kid, as kids, body language. Body language can determine whether people like you or not. That's a fact. You know, people will say about body language in someone with ethnicity different to a white person, and it is. As ethnic minorities, we're laid back. That's how we're brought up. That's the way that it is in our families. That's our heritage. We grew up in an era where that was looked upon as his body language determines whether you go this way in football or this way in football. And we was always spoken about it, always told about it. Make sure your body language is right. Be confident, yeah, but make sure your body language is right. Make sure you look like you want to be out there. That was a massive, massive thing for us. And I think that was part of the reason why we end up becoming successful and becoming professional footballers. I think that was the difference with me and you to others, is that
we're great supporters of my family.
100%.
We're a great support.
That's one thing that we had that others didn't have. Like, as I said, Kieran was probably the best in our age, if not he was the best in our age group around South London, 100%. I wasn't the best in South London. I was spoken about. But the one thing that we had that others didn't have was supportive families, supportive parents who was able to take us there. And it was a case of, do you know what the madness is for me? And I say this all the time, there's a lot of people that grew up on my estate in Peckham, would go to games and they'll be looking at my dad or my mum for support.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm looking at my actual mum and dad there.
Yeah.
It's very, very, it's a psychological thing where it's different. Same with Kieran. Your mum and dad come everywhere.
Yeah.
And not just that, if my mum or dad couldn't get me to West Ham, Kieran's dad or Kieran's mum would take me.
Yeah. Kieran was telling me a story about, who was it? Is it you, Anton and Glenn Johnson in the back of the...
Well, we used to do it all the time. No, we used to get in the van, we'd deliver coat hangers before training.
Yeah, before training.
We used to go deliver coat hangers.
Yeah, we're talking...
I remember your dad cussed me one time because we was playing about with the coat hangers. And he just wild out on me. This ain't a joke.
Well, I think that's where that drive comes from. We talk about, I was asking why he was like so work driven, so hard working, even now, like up post career, and he's just like, well, it's just drilled into me from a young age. Even when he was playing football, his parents had him in the back of the car delivering coat hangers.
Do you know what? And this is one thing. Your mum and dad deserve their flowers in terms of how they brought you up here. The reason being is because, listen, you grew up and you had more than others, but your work ethic was like you grew up on the council estate because you saw your parents work and grafting every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what I do. That's what me and Rio speak about this a lot. Okay, our kids are growing up different to us. How do we implement a drive and a work ethic to them? It's by getting up and going to work yourself. So every time you wake up in the morning, Dad, where you going? I'm going work. I'm going work. Okay. Where are you going? You going Centre Parks? Okay. Why can't you come Centre Parks, Dad? I've got work. Okay. Do you know how you're going to Centre Parks, son or daughter? No, because Daddy goes to work.
Yeah.
If Daddy don't go to work, you don't go there.
Yeah.
And I think you had that in abundance.
Yeah.
And I think that just speaks volumes that we used to go and deliver hangers before training.
Yeah.
So out of the group that was at West Ham, you talked that like you two were obviously one of the people that made success and became successful. Was there anyone else, or was it just you two out of your sort of
I don't
age
know as
group?
well. Glenn
Johnson,
yeah.
Ben Watson had a
great career.
Had a good career.
And do you think that was a difference in that age group, that you guys were just willing to sort of like work, put the time in, you had that constant support from your family?
I thought you need to have the talent.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you need to have the talent.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm just saying it helps massively having that backbone there. Anton's mum, Anton's dad, they're at every game. As you said, when you're on the pitch and you look up and you see your mum there or your dad, it gives you that bit more oomph.
Gives you that drive.
Yeah.
All four of us had that. Glenn Johnson had his mum.
Yeah, we
his
all had
mum
that.
did not miss one game.
Yeah, we all had that. And
Ben Watson,
I know many talented footballers who didn't have that, and they could have got. Maybe if they did have that, maybe they would have gone on and made it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's why so many players, I'm guessing, like give all their success to their parents and praise their parents so much. They're like,
to be in football, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So you got your 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you're doing. Then you got football commitments. As a parent, it is another full-time job.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
You have to balance. People say about, like the successful people who have got loads of money, it's easier for them because they like can just send their kids, they can get a driver, take them, and all that type of stuff. No. That there, they don't. Being able to send your kid because you've got the money to send your kid and get a driver, okay, great. But it's the support system that you need in football determines whether your talent flourishes or not.
Definitely.
So obviously you two were together at West Ham, but then later in the career you both played for Sunderland as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me through that.
Mate, I always say
stories.
for me the best time in my career was Sunderland. We had a great changing room, great characters. Roy Keane was manager. I've had a few managers there, but it was just a great time for me, my own personal. Obviously Anton came, Roy Keane signed you, didn't he?
Yeah.
And
signing all the stars.
Yeah, you did that once. He was going for everyone, signing a lot of players. But it was just great times, man. We had great. I think it was the camaraderie between us what got us through things. Kept us in the Premier League a lot. Just the team bonding.
It's also a massive club to be at.
Yeah. It's a massive club. I'll let Anton talk about his time at Sunderland, but it was just a great time.
Yeah. What did you like? What did you find about like working under Roy and things like that? Being signed by him.
I loved it. I mean, Roy was the main reason why I signed for Sunderland, but also knowing that Kieran was there and that we were like, Kieran was my best friend growing up and within football. And then to do a full circle and then come back together, it's like it was just meant to be.
How long were you there together? 2 years?
No.
3. Because you went QPR, Anton went QPR.
On my 4th year I left, my last year I left.
Yeah.
3 years we were together up there. But we were different people. We were no longer young boys running around South London or getting lifts to football by our parents. We were big men. Like we'd both...
You had to grow up.
Exactly. But the dynamics of our relationship never ever changed. And when I first come to Sunderland, it was like I'd been with him for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Like we had never been apart.
It
was like that. And that's, for me, that's how you judge a friendship.
Yeah.
Like even now, we see you 4 times a year max. But every time you're here now, it feels like you never left.
Exactly. That's how it is. And that's how I judge friendships, whether they're worth having. That's a big part of it. Whether like, if I don't see you for a while, is it awkward or is it like I just saw you or you, like you said, you never left? And me and Kieran have always had that. No matter, we've always come back together. We go and do our thing. He take care of his family, I take care of my family, but we always end up coming back together. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
That's the dynamics.
So when you got to Sunderland, obviously Kieran's there. There's got to be some stories, surely, about the change rooms. You got to give me some dirt about what's going on in the change room. Like you two, like just by being here, the energy, you're having a laugh all the time.
Do you know what? We sat next to each other.
Yeah,
we actually sat next to each other. Our lockers were next to each other.
Oh, that's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Do you know what? It was just pure jokes. I'm lucky. Like I had 2 dressing rooms that were top drawer. My West Ham dressing room was unbelievable, and my Sunderland dressing room was unbelievable, to the point where our success, and it's the most successful team that Sunderland have had in the Premier League to this date, right? It was based on friendships.
Yeah.
It was based on friendship, like people like Phil Bardsley, Lee Cattermole, Titus Bramble, you know? It was just, the friendship just built up by laughter, jokes. We'd go out.
Even the foreign boys that came in were
exactly.
out of us.
But they had no choice.
Yeah.
It was one of those. It was one of those where it was like, listen, to understand the culture here, to understand what it takes to play for these fans, because everything was driven by what we was doing for the football club and for the fans. That's what it was driven by. And that was the only way I knew how to work, because of how I grew up in West Ham and going into the first team at West Ham. That's the only way I knew how to process things, was you play for the fans. If you play for there's that saying, if you play for the badge on the front, people remember the name on the back.
Correct.
Yeah, I love that saying.
And that's the only way that I knew, you know. And it was already there when I got there, but I feel like I enhanced that, because it was like, okay, you wanna fit in. You've just come to the country, or you've just come to the football club. You want to fit in, you got to come with us. We're not coming to you. You got to come with us. And if that means you come out, you don't have to drink, but you got to come out.
Yeah, but I feel like you when you came into the club, you was a big player for us as a player and for the dressing room. You're a big character in the dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. Like I listen, if I'm not playing football, if I'm not on the pitch, I just want jokes. Yeah. If I'm not on the pitch training, like even in training, sometimes if someone got dubbed or someone got megs, you would hear me 100%. Oh no! Yeah, you'd hear me, and I'd bust it. I'd be giggling. But in the dressing room, after training, before training, you could hear me before you see me. I was like, I went to work to be serious when the football was involved, but when the football wasn't involved, I went to the best time of my life.
Do you feel like some managers might not like that?
100%. Yeah. 100%. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, 100%. I think Roy Keane liked it.
Loved it.
He liked the fact that I had a character where, like, I didn't care that he was Roy Keane. I didn't care. I respected him as my manager, but if I didn't agree with something that he said, I'd say I don't agree with it. And I think he respected that.
He does. He's like that. He's very much like that. I've said that in previous times. He's like that.
Remember, did you play Blackburn away?
When we were losing.
When we was losing. Yeah, we was losing.
Tough.
We went in 1-0. We went in 1-0
We was
down.
2-0 down.
Was it 2-0?
2-0 down we was.
Okay, I thought it was 1-0.
Blackburn away, he would.
Blackburn away. And Kenwin got out-jumped just before half time.
We was 2-0 down.
But I thought we was actually playing all right. Yeah. We just couldn't score. And we conceded 2 goals. And we got in the dressing room and Roy Keane was going off it.
Like proper.
Like, I can't say it on there. Like, he was going off it.
Digging man,
innit? And he looked at me.
Pointing fingers and that.
Yeah, and pointing fingers, he's doing more than pointing fingers. He don't ramp.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that stuff. I grew up with it. If I done something wrong, my mum and dad told me I've done it wrong, and they told me whatever way they need to tell me for me to understand. So I didn't mind stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, like, he said something about the back line, and I was like, I don't agree. And he just looked at me and he went, I knew he was going to say something, Mr. Peckham.
Is that what he said?
Raw, straight face. I knew he was going to say something, Mr. Peckham. And I was like, oh. I was a bit like, oh. And then he carried on. I didn't say nothing, because this is the main. I respect him, it's his domain, but I'm going to tell you I don't agree. But it's his domain, I respect you. Speak, do what you're doing. He continued, and he was trying to get us up for the game. And he was going, well, who's going to go out in the second half and show me that they've got a pair of balls? Who's going to do that? Who's going to grab this great game by the scruff of the neck? Who's got a pair of balls? He looked at me and went, we all know you weren't, Anton, because you ain't got a pair of balls, have you?
Fucking hell.
That just looked me dead straight, pan in the face and said that. And it like actually it pissed me off like massively, but he knew what he was doing. And Kieran said about me being a big character in the dressing room, he identified that he needed to spark me to spark the team.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we was in the tunnel, before we went out, I turned to the boys like, let's prove this C next Tuesday like wrong. Let's get out there and prove him wrong. We went out, we scored just after half time. It's on Premier League years where Gibro goes up to him because he rinsed Gibro. Remember, Gibro went up to him and said, "Is that all right for you, boss?" And he started laughing.
Yeah.
We
won the game, didn't we?
We won the game. I blocked one off the line in the last few minutes. I'm now, the whistle's gone, I'm amped. I want to go in there and go to him. I'm walking in there to go to him. Well, I've got no balls, Gaff. I've got no balls. Is that what you're telling me? I've got no balls. To give it to him, he was at the door waiting for me inside the door. As I walked in, he put his hand out, he went, I knew he was going to win this game, pulled me in and give me a shoulder barge. And then just started giggling, and that was the end of it. And I was like, you know what? Afterwards, like, I was in awe of him because like that is top management.
Yeah, that's sick.
I say Roy Keane's a G, bruv. And I feel like, I know he's a great pundit now, but I do feel like he can still do a great job in the dugout.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In a big team, 100%.
Yeah.
He couldn't, like, so him going to Ipswich and places like that, he's got to be at the top. For you to see the best Roy Keane as a manager, he's got to go to the top because he demands respect. He demands a work ethic that he had as a football player. That's what he expects to see. You're not always going to get that in League One, Championship, but in the Premier League, top end Premier League, like.
I was gutted when he left. I was gutted.
So was I. I was
Did
absolutely.
it not work out, or were you not performing?
No, it wasn't even that.
He fell out with the
owner, Ellis.
No, it was the Irish.
Was it Irish? He fell out with the owners, didn't he?
He fell out with the owners.
I thought it was Ellis he fell out with.
No, they were just about to do the deal, weren't they?
Oh, were they?
And he fell out with the owners, and then but I only had him for 3.5 months.
It was only 3.5 months?
3.5 months I had him. I think if I would have had him for my tenure at Sunderland, I'd play for England.
For real, I think so too.
Because he would have spoke about me to play for England.
Yeah. And what about who was the next manager come in?
Ricky Sprazier.
Ricky Sprazier's stag.
Yeah.
We went on his stag, didn't we?
You went on your manager's stag?
We called it that. We called it his stag. It was a pure jolly up, mate.
Or was it like pre-season or something?
No, mid-season.
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 It was mid-season.
Well, you went away with it?
Yeah, because we was like in the relegation zone, and sometimes when you slip away to try and recoup and get like bonding and
like during international break?
During international break. We went Seville, didn't we?
We went Seville.
And it was just carnage.
Seriously, when I'm talking, the drinking that we done on that trip, was some of the most drinking I've ever done to this day. Like, it was relentless.
Professional bulls, you know.
We came back there. We was on it.
Did you get rid of it?
No. We stayed up.
Yeah, we came back and it brought us together.
Definitely.
Again, it brought more people into the group.
Yeah.
Because remember, that year, after we come back from there, was that when when I said about us, when we win a game, we have to bring money in and put it in the pot. We all put cash in the pot as part of our win bonuses.
Yeah.
And what we do with that, with that money, we'll give it out to the staff members who ain't on the bonus, because we need everyone with us to get out of this relegation zone. And I remember...
Who was captain at Lee Catamol? No.
At the time?
No,
I wasn't captain.
Who was it? Who was captain at that time?
I can't remember.
Dean Whitehead.
No,
it was the year after we done that.
Was it? I can't remember.
It was Dean Whitehead, because when Katz was captain.
Yeah.
And I remember a few players Amanard, and I said, like, are you taking the mick? It's like a couple of £100.
It's nothing.
But yeah, we got to a point where we
But Ricky Spradge he was like not standing manager. He was just there for the time being.
Interim manager.
Yeah, because as soon as we stayed up, I remember the interview same
Straight
day
away.
on Match of the Day. He was like, "I've retired." Quinny was next. Was Quinny next to him?
Yeah.
Done a great job.
Interim manager leaves. Who's the next manager to come in? Did you say Steve Bruce?
Steve Bruce. My quick story with Steve Bruce. I got a great relationship with Steve Bruce. I've known him since I was a kid. So when I went to Manchester United, Steve Bruce was there because Alex Bruce played in my team as well. So I've known Steve a long time, way before Sunderland days, way before even I made it as a professional. He was always a nice man to me. He always welcomed me into his family. Top bloke. So when he came in Sunderland, I was gassed because it's like meeting someone who I know, who I respected. I got on so well with him, and I feel like he was great for Sunderland for me as a personal level. But Anton's got another story to say.
Well,
I think it started well, didn't it, Ant?
Yeah, it started okay. I always felt from the minute he stepped in the door that he didn't like me. From the minute he stepped in the door, I felt like he didn't like me, but he wanted to see, he wanted to feel me out, I think. And I think he was someone who didn't like that, 23, 24? For someone at 24 to have such a big say in the dressing room, because I had a big say in the dressing room. I was never captain, but I was captain.
But you acted like captain.
I acted like a captain.
Yeah.
I had a big say in the dressing room, you know, and it wasn't a case of what I said when. It wasn't like that, but because I was never really like that. But if I truly believed in something, I would fight for it. Whether it's for the players, whether it's the players don't agree with what the manager's saying, but I agree with what the manager's saying. I'd argue with players because I think the manager's right. So it wasn't just one way with me.
Just wasn't you being argumentative.
No, it was that's just the way that I was. And I always thought that he had an issue with me, a personal issue. Never football, never ever football, but I thought he had a personal issue with me.
How long was you at the club when he was there? 1 year? Or?
No,
it was longer.
It was 2 years.
2 years.
I've done 2 years with him.
Any bust ups?
Any
bust ups?
Oh, there was two big ones.
Yeah,
there was two big ones. There was one which was an argument. There was an argument with him, just me and him.
In his office?
No.
Where?
In the gym.
Oh, in the gym.
I
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
you're telling me.
Kieran's outside the door laughing.
No, they were not out training. We was just about to start the season.
Yeah.
It was his first season, and we was just about to start the season. And I'd played every pre-season game. I'd wore the armband a couple of the games as well. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool, this is good. But I always had this...
He bought in Titus, didn't he?
Yeah.
Go on.
And he bought in Michael Turner.
Yes.
And I always had this inkling that he didn't like me as a person. But I knew he liked me as a player because I was wearing the armband and stuff like that. And it was like... Then all of a sudden, I got injured in the... I pulled my hamstring in the Leicester game, the second last pre-season game. And we were playing Hoffenheim away, but we were flying in... playing and flying out, and it was a week before the season started. All of a sudden now, it was in the papers that week that teams in Italy, I think it was Sampdoria, Palermo and Napoli were in for me, and it's in the papers up there. And I came into training and we were flying the next day to go and play, and it was the last session before the game. And bear in mind, I hadn't trained all week. I'd done no running, nothing. The physio went to me, I want to take you outside and run you hard to make sure that you're ready for tomorrow. But I still had pain in my hamstring. So I was like, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Like, I feel like I need to look after myself. The physio took it as I was saying, I need to look after myself because I might be moving.
Yeah.
Whereas what I meant, I need to look after myself because the season starts next week.
Of course.
Yeah. He went to the manager, into the manager's office or the manager's dressing room, and said, Anton saying he don't want to go out and run. I never once said I didn't want to go out and run. I said, I'll go out there. If I feel it, I'll come back in.
Yeah.
But I'll do what you're asking. All of a sudden, I'm on all the boys have gone out to train. I'm on the bike, just ticking over on the bike to get warmed up and get ready. All of a sudden, Eric Black, the assistant manager, walks in. He goes, Anton, why don't you want to play tomorrow? I said, what do you mean don't want to play? He went, what's this about you like going to Italy? And I went, he said, it's in the papers. I said, yeah. I said, there's talk of it. He went, the manager don't know about it. I said, there's nothing to do with me. I said, the chairman knows because Narquin has spoken to me about it. He said, the chairman knows. I said, the chairman knows. So if the manager don't know, but the chairman has, between them, stuff to do, I'm just a player. He went, that's not the reason why you don't want to play tomorrow. I went, don't be silly, Eric. Don't be silly, Blackie. I said, no chance. I said, listen. I said, would you rather me fit for tomorrow for the start of the season? He said, the start of the season. I said, so there's your answer then. That's why I don't feel I'm fit tomorrow. He went, okay, no problem. He walked out. Next thing you know, Steve Bruce walks in. Oh, Anton, why don't you want to play tomorrow? I said, pardon? I said, what do you mean? I said, he said, why don't you want to play? I said, Gaffer, if you got to know me as a person, so forget football, if you got to know me as a person, you would know and understand I want to play every game. And if you got to know me as a person, I'd run through brick walls for you. He went, what's this about Italy? I went, well, the chairman knows. He went, and then he just lost his shit.
Did he?
He just went left from there. He went, well, I don't fucking know. And he went, anyway, who's your fucking agent? Who's your agent? Tell him to ring me. He went, nobody's going to fucking want you with your fucking mentality.
Really?
And when he said that,
You lost it.
I just went, because I'm a man of principle, yeah? I'm not a little kid there, right? If you blast me in the dressing room, like I said about Roy Keane, blast me in the dressing room, that's your domain. As a manager, I respect you. I won't say nothing to you. You can say most things to me. Just don't put your hand on me. But you can say most things to me. Yeah, and I'll respect you unless you take liberties. Or in your office, say what you want. But you see, in like a public domain, like the gym, don't treat me like I'm a kid. Don't like take liberties and talk down to me. I'm a big man. And I felt like he was taking the piss.
What did you say back to him?
So I said, who the fuck are you talking to? I said, I said about my mentality. I said, don't chat to me like I'm some idiot. He went, oh, your mentality this, your mentality that. And remember Aguilera, the right back that he signed from
lovely
Malaga.
guy. Lovely guy, but fucking terrible. terrible baller. Lovely guy, but terrible baller.
He was in there. He was in the gym. So I went, mentality? I said, fucking mentality. I said, you want to talk about mentality? I said, you've just signed him.
Oh, yeah? You pointed at him?
Yeah, I said, you just signed him. I was gone. I said, you've just signed him. What you put him on? 20, 30 grand a week? I said, when he gets to the winner right here, we'll see about mentality because we'll see who's fighting for you. He'll be in here and I'll be outside when it gets cold. Trust me about mentality. And then
I think when someone questions your mentality, it hits home.
Yeah.
It's like the worst you can be criticised.
As a footballer,
yeah.
Like, I was like, nah. Then all of a sudden, he started to like go at me again. So I got off the bike. And I followed him out of the gym to continue. Like, cause I was like, no, you're taking absolute mick. And I was swearing at him, he was swearing at me. And he went to me, how much do you want to leave this football club? How much do you want? What do you want, 500 grand? He went, if it's 500 grand, I'll sign that cheque myself and give it to you.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said. And I went, Gaffer, we all know I'm on a bit more than that. I said, so if you, I was cheeky, I said, if you up it, I might actually think about it. And he went, oh, you fucking this. And we kept walking. And then all of a sudden, as we're walking towards the boot room.
Yeah.
And you know, like it's about 100 yards from the gym to the boot room. We're walking and going at it. And he's going to me, get the fuck out of my club. Fuck off back to London. Mate. Get out of my club. And I went up to him and I went, no problem. And I went, you're a shit manager anyway.
Did you?
And I put my hand out and I walked out.
Mate.
And you didn't see me for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I was in London for 2.5 weeks.
That's a big argument, though.
Yeah,
from what you're telling me,
mad.
from what you're telling me, that's like
it's massive.
There's no way back from that.
It's massive. It's massive.
And you was there another year.
Yeah, I was there another year.
Did you still play?
I played, but he would never allow me to play more than 3-4 games on the bounce. I'd play 2-3 games. I'd be playing well. All of a sudden, drags. All of a sudden, I'm not in the team, and it was so embarrassing. I swear, innit? Boys were looking at me like, "How are you not playing?"
Yeah.
Like even like Titus and
Turns
and
Matty Kilgallen,
they would be looking at me embarrassed, like, right, how am I playing ahead of you? I swear to you, that's how it was. And boys were like, right, how is this happening? So it wasn't me saying it; it was a lad saying it. Like, how are you not playing?
Yeah.
Because I would always train well. I'd always train hard. Always, it was just in me to do that. Yeah, and then.
So that was the first big argument.
That was the first big argument.
The second one was
Do you think that's the craziest moment behind closed doors you've ever been in?
No. No chance. There's another one.
Go on.
And if it wasn't for Kieran...
Yeah, so this is we're Everton away. Everton away. This is when you're kind of leaving. They're trying to get you at the club, right?
Yeah, they were trying to get me at the club. But I was like, no, I'm not going nowhere.
Obviously, Everton away is a hard place to go.
Yeah, Goodison was always hard.
Horrible.
I've always said that.
I've always said that. That's one
Fans
of the
are close to the pitch, right?
That for me is one of the hardest places to go.
Definitely.
Right?
And was we getting spanked? Must have been.
It was 2-0 half time. I was playing right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was playing centre back, sorry. But my involvements in the goal were up at the halfway line. So we're talking another 20 seconds before the ball's in the... A lot happens in 20 seconds in a football match.
Yeah.
But he blamed me for both goals.
Yeah. But was he looking for an excuse?
Looking at an excuse.
Just to try and create a situation.
To try and get me out of the
You
football
lose
club.
it and you get out of the football club, yeah.
So all of a sudden now...
This is half time.
I'm in the dressing room half time. My man's like hammering me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying nothing. Because this is the main.
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing. Right? Then all of a sudden, he stops. And I started chatting to myself, like, trying to, like, G myself, like, Anton, come on, man. You got to sort yourself out. Like, fix up. Get out there and show this guy, please. Show him. Because that's how I always was. My mentality was, no one's ever going to break me mentally. And if someone's telling me I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to prove to you that I'm better than what you think. That's how, and I've always had that mentality because of Rio, because I was always compared to him. So I always had that mentality. Well, I've got to show you that I'm here not because of my brother, but I'm here because of me.
Always had
So I
something to
always
show
had
for
that.
it. Yeah.
So that's always been the way my mentality's been. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, as I'm like talking under my breath, like, come on, Anton, what are you doing? Come on, sort yourself out. Show him. Eric Black and flipping Steve Bruce, what are you saying, Anton? What? And all of a sudden, we're in my face like that. I'm sitting down.
I'm next to you as well.
And you was next to me, sitting, and they're in my face. They're here like shouting in my face. And I'm like that, and I went, what? And I was like, no, they're taking liberty. And I went to stand up, Kieran grabbed my arm and just pulled it and went, stay there. Yeah? And I swear, listen,
I knew it'd be going off.
100, like, if he wasn't there and wouldn't have done that at that moment, I would have got kicked out of the club. 100% I would have done.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
And they probably would have wanted that.
That's why they were doing it. So I could react, and then they can get me out of the football club because now is it misgross conduct or something like that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But I didn't do nothing because Kieran grabbed me and pulled me down and said, "Stay there," right? And it focused me, yeah.
To bite your lip.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, and I think because I had the respect, it's my best friend in it. So like, okay, cool. If he's speaking, I better just do what he's told and what he's telling me. Then all of a sudden they stopped because they see they weren't getting a reaction out of me. And then all of a sudden I just started crying with anger, like tears just started coming. And I always had a thing, before I went out onto the pitch, I'd go in the bathroom, I'd go for a wee, and I'd splash water on my face before I go out. I always done that. That was my superstition. I went in to do a wee and I'm crying with anger, like steaming. I'm washing my face. I'm thinking, I've now got to go and play for you after you've done that for me. I've actually got to go and put my blood, sweat and tears into this game for you. And you've just done that for me. I swear, Dan, he could have took me off at half time. He left me on the pitch for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, put my number up. I was on the far side. I had to walk off the pitch. I walked off the pitch and he did not acknowledge me. He just stood. So I'm walking this way. He stood facing there. Our fans are over there, by the way. He's not even looking at our fans. He's looking over there. Didn't even acknowledge me. And I was just like, do you know what? One thing about this guy, he ain't never, ever, ever going to be able to go to his mates and say, I'm mentally broke, Anton. That was in my mind from the first argument. That was in my mind. This guy ain't going to his friends. He ain't talking to people in football and going, you know what? I mentally broke this guy. He's going to go there and go, do you know what? This guy's mentally strong. That's what I always had in my head. And that was the year I started training with Neil. Remember before pre-season when we used to train with Neil? Yeah. And I was sick all the time, mash up. But then we get into my final year. So I'd play 2-3 games, then I wouldn't play. Then all of a sudden, Wes Brown come in. Wes Brown and John O'Shea. And like, all of a sudden, I'm looking at him going, I've got 2 players that I play for United. One of them's definitely better than me in Wes Brown, and I need to prove to people that I'm better than him. That's what's going to happen. Because that, like I said, that's my mentality. I've got to prove I'm better than players. Me and Wes formed an unbelievable partnership. Like, I'm talking an unbelievable partnership. If we would have played together for the whole of that season, I don't know where we would have finished. But the partnership was mad. We went to Anfield. Did we draw 1-1?
You might have drawn, yeah.
We drew 1-1.
We didn't lose.
Went to Anfield. Suarez and Cal were up front. On fire. Time Weir derby. On fire. We drew 0-0 that game.
Yeah, I think so. 1-0.
1-0. We drew at Stadium of Light.
Yeah. 1-0. Asamarjan.
Yeah.
In the end. Am I right saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
That week, between that game and our next game, which was Swansea away, where when Swansea come up, they were popping and it was a hard place to go. Yeah, me too. It was a hard place to go.
Brits and all them, man.
Yeah, it was a hard place to go. We drew 0-0 there. But in between them games, a club in Ukraine, Dnipro, come in for me. Put the offer on the table, money, everything on the table. Yeah. Steve Bruce come to me. He went to me, you got to go. I went, for what? So I'm not going nowhere. He went, look at what they're offering you. You got to go. I said, Gaffer.
Money don't motivate you.
Money don't motivate me. I've never played football for money, ever. I play football because I love it. I come from the streets of Peckham, where I'm just lucky that this is a job for me. I would have played football whether I made it or not. So don't put figures in front of me and think it's going to make me go, okay, I need to go there. It's not the way that I am. I'm in the best league in the world. I've got more to offer it. I'm not going nowhere. He went, Anton, you've got to go. Whilst I'm at this football club, you will never get another contract. No matter how well you're playing, you will never get another contract at this football club.
That's hard hearing.
I'm in my last year, you know. But I was like, no, I'm adamant. I'm not going nowhere. Premier League, no, not going. That was Wednesday, Thursday, he tried to do that. And we were playing Saturday away at Swansea. Went to Swansea. I played well. Others didn't. That was the day that Asamarjan fell out with him, remember? And Kenwin fell out with him that day. We get to the airport in Wales, in Swansea, to fly back up to Sunderland. All of a sudden, he come to me and went, Anton, fair play to you. I've pressured you to leave this week. You didn't go, and the fact that you turned it in a performance like that, well done. Fair play to you. And shook my hand. The minute that he shook my hand, I was like, so much weight come off of me, because I was like, this guy knows he can't break me. And I was like, just relaxed, like, boom, okay, wicked. Then after that game, QPR come. And he come to me again, he went, Anton, QPR have made an offer, we've accepted it. It's the Premier League, it's London, and like I said to you, as long as I'm at this football club, you ain't never getting another contract here. So I said to him, okay, I'll go and speak to Neil Warnock. If it's for me, I'll sign. If it's not, I'll see you in a couple of days. And he went, okay, no problem. I don't regret anything I've done in my footballing career. I don't regret anything. But if there is one thing, there's two things, but I'll speak on this one. If there's one thing that I wish I would have just done what I normally do and backed my ability, I wish I would have just stayed.
Stayed with Wes.
With Wes.
And played with him.
And played with Wes. Because if I would have played with Wes for that season, Lord knows what would have happened.
Yeah, I get it on both sides of the coin though. It's a hostile situation to be in, isn't it? So I can get why
it's hard to stay at a club where you don't feel wanted. When you got a manager saying to you, you're never going to get a contract. No matter what you do, you're never going to get a contract. That's a horrible to hear.
When you got the pressure of being a footballer and the results and all that, you don't need that ag on top of you. I get that with the manager.
You want to be clear mind, focus on the game. So it's hard to just juggling things. And I always say, for me, you're probably your mental strength compared to probably is the toughest I've seen. You've been through so much. Obviously, later on we'll talk about other things, but throughout your whole career, your whole life, so many different things pop up in your life, and you've stood so strong. I don't know how you do, maybe because of your faith, that you stood so strong, but I can't believe how mentally strong how you are, and you've come through it like that.
Do you know what? I've had to be. Like, having Rio as your brother, he's the best in the business, in the same position as you.
Yeah.
You're compared to him at all times, by the way.
Well, in the academy, like he was like signed as the most expensive striker ever, right? Or centre back. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's broke the record twice.
Yeah.
Most expensive centre back in the world. He's broke it twice. For me, he's the best centre back England have ever had.
Yeah, same. Me too.
You know, and
Best
the reason why I say that, people speak about John Terry, they speak about Sol Campbell, they speak about Tony Adams, these guys. They're all fantastic footballers. They're all fantastic centre backs, all of them in their own right. But when you look at defenders today, who are they modelled on? There's only one.
Yeah.
They're modelled on Rio. This generation of centre backs now are modelled on Rio Ferdinand, not any of the other names I mentioned. So that tells you who and what he was as a footballer.
For me, he's one of the only centre backs that would smash it in both generations, like today's centre back,
as you said,
and the old school one. What was it like? Obviously, he was quite a bit older than you.
Yeah, 7 years difference.
Yeah. Did you look at him as more like, obviously he's your brother, but did you idolise him as well? Obviously,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, massively.
We all did, even me.
Yeah. Massively.
Even me, obviously being a young kid, we all idolised him.
Massively. It was, the idolisation of him for me was massive. I was just lucky enough to be able to call him my brother.
Yeah.
You know, and lucky enough that he's the type of person and had the personality that, although there was a competitive side to him, and Kieran played with him, how competitive he was, but when it came to me, he wanted me to be as good.
Definitely.
You know, and that was just
or better,
and that was just brotherly love. Like, I would go to games. So I played the FA Cup final. I played playoff. I played big games for England and 21s. Nerves didn't really affect me. But if I went and watched Rio in a big game, the nerves would be ridiculous.
Because you went to do so well.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do so well. It was just a brotherly connection, I think, where there was competition, but as long as we both won,
it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Have you ever had this is just interest from me. Have you ever had a charity game or whatever where you two have played together as centre backs?
Yeah, we've played together in 2 games. One was Mark Noble's testimonial, and I kid you not, we played together for what? I think he played about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes. I learnt more in that 35 to 40 minutes than I did in my whole career.
Wow.
Just by the way he spoke to me. Just by the attention to detail. And I was a talker.
Yeah.
Don't get me, I was a talker. Like, on the pitch, I was an organiser. Like, I was the loudest and I organised at all times. But I learnt so much in that 35, 40 minutes. Just the little things. Anton, go tight. 1 metre to your right. That's attention to detail.
Yeah.
You can tell that even through his punditry. And
it's
things like
like,
that.
I'm
it's
talking,
crazy.
it's like, I've never heard this stuff before. I never heard that. Like, 1 metre to the right, and it's got me thinking, right, am I too far? But I like attention to detail. I think, like, I like dissecting football. So that type of stuff, I was like, okay, cool. One big step's 1 metre. Boom, I'm doing that. I was able to process it whilst I was playing. And I really, really enjoyed it. And as I said, it was the most that I learned throughout my whole career.
Imagine playing him every week. Imagine.
Johnny Evans, this is why you see Johnny Evans of what he is today. He's playing with the likes of Rio and Vidic.
Yeah, for real.
Arsenal should have signed him.
Yeah.
Gutted.
So when you went to QPR, obviously the massive... It's been it's a massive vocal point. When people will think, when they think Anton, they'll think the JT situation at QPR. I don't know where to start with it, man. It's a hard one because I was saying to Henry, it felt hard to take because JT seemed to be like very good friends with the family, with Rio. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Frank Lampard, Jody Morris, Lamps. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it felt, if someone else was to do it, it'd be much, it wouldn't even matter. It hit home more.
Like it ruined a lot of friendships.
Yeah.
100% it ruined a lot of friendships.
What I want to ask, do you think it affected your football afterwards? Maybe not the way that you were playing, but the way that sort of clubs viewed you and managers and 100%. Things like that.
It speaks volumes when you look at my appearances before and after this situation. I think I only played 13 more games, whether that's a sub appearance or a start.
That's shocking.
And I only played 13 games after that.
It's crazy.
It's horrible, isn't it? When I think, even you said it in the documentary as well, like, mate, I find it mind blowing, and I do feel obviously it's a hard one, but in a day, I've got my opinion on it. I feel it's weird because for me, I feel like he said it, no problem. I can admit, I'll say that on. But do I feel like he's out and out racist? Not really, but it came out of his mouth. But I feel like if he would just said, "Yeah, I said it. Sorry, Anton," I think we wouldn't even be talking about it now.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think if he comes out and says that, for the fact that he's owned up and taken ownership of it, we can move on.
Of course we can.
JT, you were wrong. This is why you were wrong. But the fact that you owned up to it, educate yourself and never do it again. Yeah. And we move. Yeah.
Definitely.
You take the ban, you take the fine, you move on. In 2 years' time, people won't even talk about it if you just own it there and then.
And I think like, for me personally, I mean, I just look at it as this is my journey and these things happen to me for a reason, for me to become a better person, for me to be able to help people, for me to help my friends. I say this a lot, like, doing the actual documentary was like very therapeutic for me. There was a lot of stuff that I was fighting with spiritually, fighting with subconsciously. I was doing a lot of fighting where I'd go through like 3-4 months, especially after my mum died, 3-4 months where my day started at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, where I was fighting with something. I just didn't know what I was fighting with and I couldn't sleep. So I'd sleep from go sleep 10, and I'd be up 3 or 4 o'clock, and my day would start then. And I was still playing football at Southend at the time, and I just always try to, and I think this is my mother in me, I always try to look at a positive out of a negative. Like the positive out of the negative of the stuff that happened with Steve Bruce earlier on in my career was, I'm going to show him how mentally strong I am. I'm never going to allow him to break me. You know, and the fact that I could still be myself in that dressing room was a big thing for me. And that was the positive that I took out of that situation. The positives that I took out of the situation with JT is that if I needed to be the first one to go through something like this, so high profile in this era to help the next generation, I'm actually comfortable with that, which is why I do so much talking today about it. And
because it still happens today.
Of course.
But every time it happens, clubs are now just like...
And they're more bang on it.
They're airing it. They're banning... I know it's coming from fans, but they're banning the fans. People going like prison for the messages they're sending to Ian Wright for say.
Yeah, so I looked at it like that. The same as when my mum died. I feel I am the only one, but I think one person whose parents ain't here in my circle of friends. And I feel that I was the first one to go through this with my mum so that when it happens to my friends, I can help. That's the positive that I take out of listen, say the positive, there's no positive when you lose a parent, you know, and it's just that we've all got to go through it at one point. It's definitely more, I'm not saying it hurts less or it hurts more, but it's definitely more manageable, I'd say, when your parents are older. But my mum was 58, like she was just starting her life really as a grandmother, and very much a massive influence on my family and what we stood for as a family.
Janice was the backbone.
Yeah,
of the Ferdinands.
So losing her, that was the only positive that I could take from losing my mum, was that I now need to become her, which is to help others. And this is why I'm going through this now before any of my friends, so that when my friends lose a parent, I can make some things that some thought processes you don't understand.
Make it make sense.
I can try and make it make sense for you, you know? And I always say this, there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's only your way. And that's what you got to live by. When in grief, your way, it ain't always the right way, it ain't always the wrong way. But you got to give your time to have your way on how you grieve. And it's being in an environment where you can control it. If you're in an environment where you can't control it, that's when it becomes hard. You know, when you're in an environment, or when you got an emotion that you don't understand because you never had it before. Us as human beings, we're used to understanding our emotions. If we're sad, we understand it's a sad emotion. But when you lose someone so prevalent in your life, you get a feeling, you get an emotion that all of a sudden you've never had this before, so you don't understand it.
You know what, bruv?
When you don't understand it, you search.
I wore my sunglasses because obviously I fucking hell. Listen,
Kieran's known my mum most of his life, and that's why you're seeing this reaction. But that just epitomises the person that she was. When you see this reaction, it epitomises the person that she was, and this is what drives me now to become the person that I am, because I feel like I need to live through her to continue her legacy.
You know what? Janice is a lovely lady, man.
So, where do you think that's what sort of has boosted like the sort of mental awareness and intelligence that you have going through like what you've gone through? Has it sort of shown you that you need to be like sort of footballers need to be more outspoken about their emotion, their sort of mental health and things like that, because obviously it's so prominent now in your life and obviously was earlier on.
Yeah,
and you always talk about how managers, you were just like, I need to show them I'm mentally strong. They're not going to mentally break me. In both senses, do you think that's healthy, unhealthy in a way?
It's unhealthy, but I had to be, me personally, I had to be like that. I had to.
And do you think players now need to be more open with it?
Yeah, definitely. And son, my wife changed me. Fact, my wife changed me. I was someone who was hard, didn't speak about my emotions. I'd pent things, I'd take things in and not speak about it, and then all of a sudden it will come out somewhere else. Yeah. And it will come out worse.
Come out in horrible ways.
Yeah, come out of a place that it shouldn't.
In arguments and things like that.
Yeah, and my wife helped me to change for the better, because now my kids see a softer side of me, which is important. But as a footballer, I had to be like that. But I think, it's great that people speak about their mental health, and a lot more people are speaking about it. But
because it's such a high-pressured job.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure on players and things like that, and you go through so many emotions, and everyone's having an opinion on your life. I just think it's so important that players just need to be vocal about it.
Definitely. But we need to get to the bottom of why it's happening.
Yeah.
And this is the problem that I have with football. Football don't want people to know the reason why they're going through this.
Well, it's like the other day, we've only had the first openly gay person in football come out, and he's 18 years old. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be hundreds, that have been through the Premier League in the last 10 years, and everyone's so afraid.
Probably. Me personally, I wouldn't care whether you're gay or not. That's your preference. I
don't think any players will. I think it's just.
I don't think so neither.
It's just those fans, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the tribalism. Tribalism.
It's got such a negative outlook on it, doesn't it? Some football fans, that you've got the sort of hooligans, racist, homophobics, and I think that's what scares people off.
Of course, but I think it's mental health is deeper than just your sexual orientation or your skin colour. When it comes to footballers, there's financial pressure that don't get spoken about. People just think they see the riches What happens when to the players who get injured and we're on 20 grand a week, then go from 20 grand a week to nothing a week, and have to go and find a new pathway, a new job? What about them?
Because it's rarely spoken about that. Some players, like, obviously they're not earning the 400 grand a week that Messi is. They are earning that 15, 20, but they're only earning that for 10 years. So, like,
if you're lucky,
if you're lucky, if you've had a good career, and then what are you supposed to do after that if you haven't learned all these skills, and if you're not actively being smart with the money? They'd have to go get a normal job.
Of course,
and things like that.
There's not many footballers out there that can retire at 35 and never work again. That's what people fail to realise. It may become different now because there is the 250 grand a week. There is the 300, the 400, the 500 grand a week.
But in your day, it wasn't like that.
In my day, no chance. I don't know a player who doesn't have to work.
Yeah.
You know?
And even guys are on 400 grand a week. It doesn't matter if you're on 400 grand a week, but you're spending 390. What does it matter? You're still going to be broke come the end of it.
Exactly.
If you're not told properly how to use your money.
This is the problem. If you're on 400 grand a week, you live a 400 grand a week lifestyle. When you retire at 35, you've still got another 25 years until your real retirement, and you've got to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
So if you say, for instance, you had a cash flow of £20 million after earning 400 grand a week, that £20 million ain't lasting you long if you're still going to live a 400 grand a week lifestyle. It ain't going to last that long. But you've got 25 years, by the way, to bridge the gap. So stuff like that don't get spoken about.
No, we said in previous times, I think it's very important that footballers are told how to manage their money, educate these footballers. These young kids coming through, these 18-year-olds, they're on big money now, these young kids. And they should be trying, PFA, I keep saying it, they don't do nothing. I don't think they do anything now, but people should be educated. What you're going to do with all that money? You should be buying this property, buying central, just putting things places, live off rentals, passive income. But we never got told that. You know what I'm saying? We never got told that.
Of course,
that's going back to obviously what your parents have done for you both, because that's why you're like where you are today and doing what you're doing today.
I think it's got to understand some of these kids at 17 that are earning 20 grand a week at 17. They're the breadwinners. They're the main breadwinners for their family. So all of a sudden, they're on 20 grand a week. That's £1 million a year.
A lot of money.
Right? It's a lot of money. They go and buy a house. They buy a house for 800 grand. It's a mortgage. They can't pay out, right? It's a mortgage. At 17, they're paying a mortgage at 800 grand a year house because they've signed a 3-year deal for £1 million a year. That's 3 million over 3 years. They don't think about the tax. They don't think that they're getting taxed. Well, when we were playing, it was between 40 and 50% through our career. They don't think about the tax. They don't think that, what if after these next 3 years, I'm not in the first team?
Or get injured.
Or if I get injured. Because, for instance, they're in a house, 800 grand. Say, for instance, when they come to the end of that contract, they've still got 500 grand or 600 grand to pay on the mortgage, but they've gone from 20 grand a week to £1,500 a week or 5 grand a week, but they still live like they're on a 20 grand a week paycheck.
There's
no way out.
Yeah, there needs to be
There's no way out.
That's where the education needs to come in for all of this. How did you know, like during your career, what you were going to do post football? And like we've spoken about what players should be doing and what they should be thinking about. What led you to sort of focus on after football?
No, not really. I was different. Kieran thought about it from youngish in his career. I didn't want to think about it. I was scared of retirement, but I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to concentrate on football, which is the wrong thing to do, but that's how I was. But
I don't think there's no wrong and right in it. If you love football and you're focused on football, I think it's a great trait to have that.
As long as you haven't, as long as you're not doing what you're saying, spending your entire salary where you can, as long as you're smart with it.
But I was like, I'm one of the lucky ones. I had a business to walk into. I had a documentary to film, which took up a lot of my time.
So that's what you're doing now. Is you work for New Era Agency.
Yeah.
You got a show with Steve.
Yeah.
Secret Scout.
Yeah.
You're pundit on Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Do a bit for Sky Sports here and there.
BT here and there.
BT here and there. So is that sort of your primary focus right now? When we talk about you and working, that's what you're doing.
You work with the young kids on New Era, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a media career going. I enjoy doing media. But my passion is mentoring. I love mentoring to the younger generation, to especially the young footballers.
So helping young footballers, yeah.
100%. I say this confidently. Most footballers are going to go through stuff, and I've only said a couple of stories on here, but I guarantee you I've been through most and more footballers in their career. Like we're just spoken about one club here, or two clubs with the John Terry situation. But they're three things, and they're three big things, by the way, that a lot of players don't go through in their footballing career.
So what, you think you're in a great position to be able to mentor and take people through those?
I always mentor from a place of experience, I think. And if I don't have that experience, I will ring a player that does have that experience and take from them that experience, so I can deliver, or ask that player to speak to the player, so they can deliver. I don't feel comfortable delivering something as a mentorship based on hope that I think this is how it should go. I want a living experience where I can go, do you know what? And as I said, I'm a player who's probably been through everything that a player's going to go through. Oh, the manager's not playing me. Why is he playing me and then not playing me? And he ain't spoke to me, he ain't said nothing to me. The manager don't like me. I've been through all of that.
Because agents aren't just enough these days, are they?
No. And I think at New Era, we've got this thing called the 360 approach, and mentoring is at the heart of that. I think young players today need that. They're very much social media driven, so that they believe a lot of their hype. And a lot of people see the glitz and glamour of football only. They don't see the pitfalls of football.
Yeah.
And listen, it's fantastic if you're successful, but if you're not successful,
we only see really like the top 10%, top 5%.
there you go. What is it?
Think how many leagues there are. And how many
what you got to understand is this: see it all Cat 1, so all that Premier League academies. It's less than 3% in an academy in Cat 1 that play 1 minute in the Premier League.
That's mad.
It's less than 3%. How mad is that?
It's crazy.
But we sit here today. That's what I'm saying. We sit here today as part of that. We've done it.
For real, I feel blessed, man. Just, obviously being able to see through what I wanted as a kid, same as Anton.
Live your dream.
Yeah, as kids, we used to say as kids, just want to make it into the first team. At my time at West Ham, I thought about West Ham. I want to be West Ham first team. Obviously, I went to somewhere else, but that's all we wanted to do. Just to get on that pitch that one time and say I became a first team. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah. That's all I ever wanted to do. Just bust one game, say I made it as a pro. And obviously from there, it just follows on and you carry on throughout your career. But to be able to do that, and it's crazy, man. So blessed.
What was your most memorable moment, entire football career?
Playing against Rio.
Yeah?
Yeah, playing against Rio.
And coming out on top.
Yeah, scoring.
Yeah.
Did you win?
Yeah. We'll pop that up.
Yeah, 2-1, I scored a header.
What teams was that?
West Ham versus United at Upton Park. Header. I remember.
Did you give him a little wink?
Yeah, he got it. He wouldn't come up to the
players' lounge.
After.
See the family.
What he got on? He left there and got straight on the bus and wouldn't come up.
It's pride, isn't it? That pride there.
Mad.
It's funny,
that competitiveness.
But inside he was buzzing. Like, he was pissed that they lost.
Yeah.
Because he's a winner.
But he's gassed for you.
But he was gassed for me.
Yeah.
But he just didn't want to see me gloating. That's what it was.
Yeah,
he didn't want to see me, because if he come up and I was like, I would have been like,
Did you give him a little cheeky text after? Any text or anything?
nah. I just left it. I left him.
Yeah.
And because I know our group of friends would have done it. So I just
ripped
left
him anyway.
Yeah, and that's probably one of my biggest things. And just going back to the business side of things, like, I'm lucky enough now to have a football group in Essex where I live now, called Ferdinand Football Group, which again is based on how we grew up. Mm-hmm. Our parents done a great job in terms of helping to create the person, but they had help with the size 5. The size 5 football helped our parents create the person. Mm-hmm. And that's what Ferdinand Football Group is about. If us as a group can help the parents create a good person, like football did for me, like football did for Kieran,
creating that support network.
Exactly.
Behind,
then I'm happy with it. That's what Ferdinand Football Group is about. If we get a footballer out of it, that's just a bonus. But if we get out of 1,000 kids, we get 400 that turn out to be decent people.
Yeah, that's first and foremost.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough now in Essex. We've just become the biggest football group outside of an academy in the whole of Essex, which is fantastic. And we're just over a year old.
That's a massive achievement.
That's sick.
Yeah, so
congratulations on that.
Thank you. We're just about to do our first franchise over in Kent.
Yeah.
Where a company are going to come and acquire and take on the Ferdinand Football Group brand and have my resources. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to just stay in London. I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to branch out and I want to expand. I want to try and give as many children, first and foremost in my country, which is England, the platform to become responsible, good young adults, and not just that, where you can come and express yourself and not feel judged.
Yeah.
And that's what football does to you. And if, as I said, if we can go around England and use a size 5 to help create the person and create good people, that's what Ferdinand Football Group's about.
I love that slogan, use a size 5.
That's sick. That's dope.
That's but that's what it done for us.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's saying, like, everyone would be like, use a football, but you use size 5.
Yeah, the size 5.
Decent.
Get that hashtag, get that on Instagram.
Bro, it's been amazing, bro. Been a great show, man. I'm sure everyone's loved the content, loved what you had to say.
There's been stories, laughter.
I could have brought some more
tears.
stories up, but I'll say for another time. Another time. There's loads of stories.
There's too much to talk about.
Yeah. I know, but we've got some absolutely crackers. Yeah. Guys, if you like the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we'll catch you next time.